and you guys should be perfectly good.
Okay, but, all right. Thanks,
I'm
Erica.
gonna disconnect. Call
All
me
right.
back if you have an issue.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Okay, every single time.
Certainly very nice.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, thanks. Sorry, as usual, technical difficulties.
Peter, please, no worries. You've got us there now. We ready to start?
Yep, I don't know if everybody got my email, but this is the draft and report.
Good evening. This is the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board. I'd like to call this meeting to order December 2nd, 2025. It's now 5:17 PM. Can we have a approval of tonight's agenda, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion's made by Mr. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Sherlin to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, Mr. Brace,
Aye.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Sherlin. Chair votes aye. Approval of minutes, November 18th, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to look at them, or are there any revisions, or?
I haven't done them.
Okay, all
I
right.
didn't do them, and I didn't do them in favor of getting this done. Because this requires reading all the minutes from the last fiscal year and then doing an outline and then writing this,
Okay,
which I mostly did on the boat, going back on the mainland, but. So I'll have them for the next meeting.
thank you, Peter. Any notes from the Marine Department?
Nothing. No marine department here.
Natural Resources Report. Tara Riley, please.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I have a very short report. I feel like we just met. So this week, we have regularly scheduled eelgrass management plan meetings. So we've been keeping up with that. We're working to kind of clarify some stuff on grant submissions that we have going on before the holidays. I did hear from the company that's going to be installing the weather station down on Brant Point, and we're hoping that he can find a weather window next week to come out and do that. I think it might be like slightly ambitious to think that everything's going to work 100% in time for the holidays. I think there's probably going to be a little bit of a learning curve and maybe just, a testing period to make sure to work out the kinks and stuff. But in any case, we'll kind of clarify everything, once we have more information. And the only other thing that came up this week after the holidays is the Martha's Vineyard Shellfish Group contacted us and was asking about the Dalmatian scallops and if we were seeing a high prevalence of them. So I've been trying to get some information to see, what people are seeing. Haven't really got a lot of information. I asked JC and he said there wasn't anything really to report. So I appreciate you, Jim, for also, giving your information. It looks like on the vineyard, it's where was it? I think I can't remember the exact spot. Menemsha maybe. But anyways, they said that it's so bad in that one area that when they're cutting their scallops, they're losing 15 to 30% of their harvest. So we are working with a guy that is a pathologist who's been studying this kidney parasite for a very long time. And she's asking him questions about whether it makes sense to, even if they're not going to harvest, scallops for sale in that area, if you just need to harvest them and get them out of that area to help prevent, transmitting them. And he kind of said that, he felt like from what he knows, the transmission occurs earlier in the year to the juveniles. So Doing that, might help a little bit, but he didn't really give anything definitive of that. So she's sending him more samples just to verify that it is the kidney parasite. And then, so we'll just stay in conversation with them and see what's going on. But genetically, they're working on creating stocks that are resistant to this kidney parasite. So that's kind of a little bit of the wave of the future. It's happened with oysters with different strains that they've raised to be more resistant to certain oyster diseases. So, could be something that might be helpful in the future as well. And that's kind of all I have. There wasn't a lot going on. I was out, I was off for a week, so just catching back up with everything.
Thank you, Tara. Was last year our first year to experience the Dalmatian issue?
I think there were some the year before, but it was in very small amounts.
And how about the vineyard? Is this their first year to notice it?
No, I think this is also their third year.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Questions from the board for the natural resources report? Comments?
Just,
Scott?
does anybody, any fishermen put their reports in about how they're doing with scallops?
No, I know that so JC submits those to Jeff and he was going through them yesterday and I don't know if he got through them all, but I will have a report for November at the next meeting. I think like when we first started the season, it was like 100 bushels a day. And so, I guess I'll just have to check and see,
Okay.
and kind of see where that's at. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention is that I was looking at the weather and it seems like there's a lot of forecasting going on for December being very cold. So I think that's something that we'll just have to, keep our eye on.
Yeah, the forecast for Thursday night sticks out in my head because I'm like, I might have to stop taking showers outdoors because the temperature is going to be like 21 or something like that on Thursday night.
Yeah, I saw a low temp forecast.
But then beyond that, it didn't look too bad. Oh, we'll see.
Seed, moving seed, Tara, has there been more seed moving done by your department?
Not last week at all.
Okay.
Last week was kind of a holiday week for a lot of people, so we didn't have our boat in the water, and we also lost possession of where we keep our boats and stuff because of Biden. So kind of everything was spread out everywhere. But if we get a window this week, we'll probably go up and check on some things and just see how things are moving and what they look like now.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else on natural resources? Anything from the public?
I was just wondering, because over the weekend, well, on Friday and then on Saturday, it was windy. And I couldn't go out and walk because I had the farmer's market those 2 days, but I was just wondering if anybody knew of any strandings.
I didn't hear of any strandings. No, we did not check on Friday and Saturday of the weekend. I didn't really recall the wind being super strong, but
But do
I'll
you
check.
get, maybe I should know this, but other than Blair Perkins, you get people calling in and saying that they have seen strandings in various places?
We
Is that
do.
right?
We get a lot of social media messages, sometimes pictures too. People sending stuff in. But yeah, I hadn't heard of anything. Usually like we don't really pay attention unless it's blowing over like 20. I think that's when we start really paying attention.
Okay.
Thank you, Tara. Mr. Buscarin, particular to the natural resources report?
Yes, well, not about that report. I'm asking your advice of this committee or board.
Wait, Andy,
Okay,
if it's not about this report, there's a space for you near the end of the meeting for public questions and
Okay,
comment.
well, I'll sit down.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. There's nothing else on natural resources report. We will move into old business. General chapter 91 licensing explanation for Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board members from our board member Dave Franzuto, who is not with us tonight. If any of the board here has something they'd like to continue with tonight with discussion on this, we may, or anybody on the screen, otherwise we'll move forward.
Oh, Dave is traveling, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard from Dave.
Oh, he did say he was traveling,
Okay, all right.
driving through some horrible weather, I guess.
Mhm.
I guess, I have one, so would Sheila be able to give us input on this as well if she was here?
Somewhat,
Probably have some information for us, but
but Dave is the one. And Jeff and Vincent.
To do history, really.
Yeah, because Sheila's on the water and harbor infrastructure. Not really enforcement of what you're doing with your waterfront, but I mean, Jeff is the one that has the,
Okay.
the incredible knowledge base,
Well,
and Dave.
yeah. I would imagine Sheila may have some input, certainly with the next item. I was thinking it would be good if she could come in, give us her opinion on what we may be discussing here in the future. So we'll continue the chapter 91 discussion to our next meeting. All right, in new business, Peter and I decided to separate this out from the chapter 91 discussion. It seemed to be it was a big topic at our last meeting to discuss, and I felt it was an interesting topic, and I feel it's important to our commercial fishermen here to have some other options. I've always felt it's kind of not fair that they're paying what I would call a recreational price at the fuel dock, but anyhow, under new business, safe transfer of diesel fuel in volume from truck to boat by commercial fishermen. Anybody want to open up anything that's on their mind? Please, Jim.
um. I think it might be good to find out if there's a town regulation as far as an approved amount that you're allowed to transfer or not. Or if it's over a certain amount, you need to have a boom in place or cleanup kit or something. I'm not sure. I mean, I could certainly talk to the harbor master or somebody over in Chatham and see what they require. I've never noticed the boom at Stage Harbor where they fuel off the truck. Maybe they do have one there somewhere. I'm not aware of it. They also have the Shellfish hatchery right there where they bring water into the building. It's like right next to it, where the fuel, where the fish pier is. It's
And
kind of
that's
big,
where
thing. It's where the
commercial
truck-
boats are filling from a truck.
Yes,
I felt that there's a lot of ideas that can be thrown around here, and that's why we separated this out from the chapter 91 discussion. And in thinking about this a lot over the last 2 weeks, just what type of ideas we can come up with to possibly propose some changes, because I believe it was mentioned at the last meeting, there is a 12-gallon limit for transferring from dock to boat, truck to boat, whatever that
to
may
find out if
be.
that's town regulation or state regulation.
Mhm.
One thing, it's a state regulation, but
No, I believe it's a town
Okay.
regulation that it was mentioned. It might have been Bob that
Okay.
mentioned it at the last meeting, Mr. DaCosta. So, and whether that's, I imagine that aside from an approved truck like Harbor Fuel or Sun Island Fuel, otherwise it's transfer by 5-gallon can or a transfer tank from the back of your pickup truck, which
That would seem much riskier than a regular hose.
I'm sorry.
Is that with transferring 5 gallons at a
Yeah.
time would seem much riskier
No,
than
it's,
just having somebody put their fuel hose.
I think a transfer tank, I mean, they used all over the country, loggers use them every day in the woods. I have one myself, 90-gallon tank that, I could fill at the gas station and then, take it to a job site and fill a diesel generator or whatever I may have, but, or a piece of equipment that is an off-road piece of equipment, so, I'd like the entire board to, think about this, think of safety measures we can propose. Maybe some type of safety class be given for the transferring of fuel so that possibly we can come up with a recommendation to try to move forward with a larger amount being allowed to be transferred, at least for commercial fishermen.
Question, Mr. Chairman, for Jim. 12 gallons doesn't seem like much.
No.
So how
That's a
many,
waste of time.
how many gallons does your boat take?
About 390.
390?
Yeah, but I mean, if I could do 100 once in a while, that'd be nice.
So yesterday I was off island, up in Hanover looking at, new cars and, on the highway, I saw a tanker truck that said in red lettering, diesel direct. And there was a picture of a boat and a picture of a truck on it.
Huh.
And I was wondering if that was the type of thing that it's probably not here, but it looked like something that you were talking about where you go on the mainland and that a truck will just come and,
Yeah, it's
hook
just
up.
the same truck they delivered home heating fuel with.
But do they, when you go do that, and that happens, does somebody put a floating boom in the water?
No.
Just having it on hand and having it,
Right.
ready to deploy immediately, I would think, that would be a good safety precaution in itself to have it ready, whether each, and I'm not familiar with, I mean, is this something you could keep on your boat?
I mean, I was gonna suggest having a spill kit at the site where you were gonna do this, say you're at these children's beach, you have a
Mhm.
spill kit for whatever amount of fuel. On average, they'd be transferring.
Mhm.
I mean, you're not gonna put the hose in, all of a sudden dump 100 gallons of fuel out of
Right.
the boat. I mean, maybe you spill a couple, but it's gonna be mostly in your bilge probably,
Mhm.
depending how your fuel tanks are set up. But you're not gonna all of a sudden spill 100 gallons in the water somehow. Um,
All right,
Mr. Chairman, when we had the pipeline down by the Great Harbor Yacht Club, and before it was the Great Harbor Yacht Club, and it was the Nantucket Boat Yard, you remember?
oh, yes.
It seemed like there was a floating boom in the water all the time, where it was just sort of laying there on the side.
Mhm.
So when they took deliveries, they'd
Mhm.
set the boom up just in case.
Mhm.
So, but I don't imagine it's something that a customer like Jim or Bobby could just have on their boat. It's a pretty elaborate thing, isn't it? And it's,
Well, that's just, I'm not familiar. It seems to me it's, they're simply tubes, that, float, or maybe they have kind of they
Yeah.
have a sheet that
Absorbent
hangs
sheet.
down, a weighted sheet.
yeah, it's like a float mill, usually it's like a float at the top end, like towards the top, and then there's like a piece of plastic that goes above and below the water. They usually can like kind of fold together, so like maybe an accordion style thing, so. Kind
And
of.
is it actually absorbing the fuel?
No, it's just to hold it, so you put the absorbent inside it.
Gotcha.
Like, we worked on tankers in Alaska, we boomed the ship in. And that was usually just in case you did have a spill, it'd be contained in that area when it was going.
Mhm.
Then they cleaned it up if you had a problem, which they never did, thank God. But it's the idea.
I mean, I think it's only fair to guys who are making a living off the water, versus, recreational boats, recreational fishing. This is allowed in towns all over Cape Cod, and who knows where else up and down the East Coast. And for it to be stopped at Children's Beach simply because of backup alarms at 6:30 in the morning, I can understand the backup alarm being frustrating, but certainly there's something that can be done to alleviate these inconveniences to others. And of course, the most important, the safety of the transfer itself over water. So, Mr. Anderson,
Where does Coast Guard get their fuel?
They have their own tanks.
They have their own tanks.
Mhm.
and it's
Okay.
delivered from Harbor Fuel to them,
Have to
something
be.
like that. Or
And they have,
Sun Island.
and they have hoses, they have pumps right down on the,
Yep, I don't know if they have a boom. I have to look.
the 12 gallon thing. I mean, could that have been established for just recreational people? Because, I mean, who would need more than 12 gallons if it was just a recreational boat? Right, but there are boats gym size that are out there or bigger, that probably have a big tank, so they would just go to the boat basin and fill up, right?
Well, I can think of plenty of pleasure boats that hold 250, 300.
Right. So it'd just be helpful for us to know the thinking behind 12 gallon limit.
Yeah. Well, so we need some more information from that and maybe Dave knows. I think Sheila would certainly know. It has to come from somewhere.
I guess it's for cleanup reasons, I would think. For
Yeah.
Containment reasons would be my guess.
Mhm.
12 gallon. But I don't know.
Before Peter asked you, did you have another question or
I think
comment?
I was gonna mention that you can fill up a truck in the vineyard too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, your tiny can.
Mhm.
But it's,
And they have a public fuel dock as well.
But if you wanna get a lot of fuel, they can fill you by truck.
Mhm.
but that's like, it doesn't make sense. If you want to get a lot of fuel here, you go to the boat basin and fill up. You go and do that. So what's the difference between the water at the boat basin and the water closer to shore? Where a truck would come? And you want to get a lot of fuel.
Well, the only thing the boat basin has well, it's more for gasoline and diesel, but they have the foam system if you have spill, but that's more for gasoline than diesel.
Okay,
I think they also have a boom on site, I think.
okay. Just trying to think
I believe.
trying to think it through.
And a boat to get down on to deploy it because that dock is quite
Eventually.
elevated from water level.
That's true.
We're not just gonna toss it off the dock and get it in place. And I can recall seeing like a little aluminum John boat floating around under the dock there somewhere, and maybe that's what it's for. But,
I had one more question.
please,
All right.
Peter, go ahead.
So when we have a blow and we get, commercial fishing boats that come in from way out and they come in and they spend the night at our place, at the basin, right, down pier. If one of those guys was low, would they go to the boat basin and fill up? Is that a thing?
I doubt that they would
They're not
spend the
gonna,
money.
they're not gonna pay $8 or more a gallon. They'd probably go over to Hyannis before they head back out.
Okay,
And I mean, that's what Dan and Jim and others do that are, you're heading offshore to go fishing. I mean, it's certainly a detour out of the way, but it's still obviously a savings to take that detour to fill up on the Cape. Like I've said, it's no, simply for commercial fishermen, I think it's only fair. So,
Yeah, okay.
so I think it would be smart for us to start listing. Whether it's safety precautions, whether it's reasons why we would advocate for this, if we're gonna advocate for it. So that we have, our ducks in a row on how we're gonna present this if we decide to.
well, maybe we should. Well, one thing to be helpful is to find out if the other towns where Jim and the guys go and get filled up, if they have a limit. Sounds like the limit is only the size of your tank, so.
Right.
But it'd be great to get their bylaws if they have them, and find out what those things are.
I mean,
Scott?
Bobby DeCosta seemed to say that there was some insurance issue with
Yes.
somebody down either at Great Harbor or at the,
Yeah, Great Harbor.
and is that, I wonder if that's that they don't want to absorb the risk of filling up the boat? Or how do we, understand what the
Well, it's in
real
their chapter
concern is?
91 permit that says that they have to do it. They just don't want to do it. And no one has put the pressure on them to do it. It's like Jeff says, trying to enforce the chapter 91 licenses all around the harbor, all around the perimeter of the island. It's like the zoning officer trying to go and enforce all the people who are breaking the law with the type of lights that they have that aren't facing you around. You really have to make a case out of it. You have to file a complaint with DEP and with the town, and you have to see it through and get the lawyer, and it's not like there's a cop out on the waterfront all the time looking for violations and writing people up, and so.
Okay. Everybody's got the idea of how we're gonna move forward with this. We'll continue this discussion as long as we need to.
I had one thing I wanted to add real quick, if that's okay.
Please do, Tara. Thank you.
I was just gonna say that, everything that you guys are discussing is definitely falling in line with the revision of the harbor plan. And, it's listed, a lot of this stuff is listed under, commercial shellfishing and preserving the working waterfront. So I think once, that is completely revised, it's just gonna, I think it's great that it's being worked on now in advance, and that will just kind of, buffer the fact that, this is something that you guys care about and you need, and it should be prioritized.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Tara's right. When the implementation committee for the updated harbor plan is created, and they'll go through all of the recommendations, they will, as they did with the previous plan, they will basically assign the work to whichever entity is going to do it, and then follow up on it and make sure it gets done. So if we're ahead of the curve and we come up with a recommendation and say this should happen, then one of the places that gets CC'd is the Harbor Plan Implementation Committee.
Good. The only thing that comes to mind is it's a little certainly unrelated, but I wonder if the comparison could be used. We kind of refrained from discussion on scallop pricing, and you have mentioned since I've been here that that's something we're not supposed to be concerned with. And when it comes down to it, this is simply a concern for economics for commercial fishermen. And so hopefully our discussion and efforts here are not squelched in some manner because it has to do with economics.
Well, it's more of I see it more as infrastructure.
Mhm.
That's what I think. I mean, the fishermen are, they're like, they are, complaining about the price and the availability, and, well, the price is the price, but what we're concerned about is the availability, and then being able to go. I mean, I think we have lots of discussions about things where in the background is the money, but we're trying to provide the service.
Yeah.
So,
Well, honestly, I'll get to you, Scott.
I just don't think we're in danger of.
Ever since, 12 years ago, when you mentioned that, we're supposed to, be careful where we tread water, pun intended, on talking about price of scallops, but it's always bothered me because, well, if the price of scallops isn't sustainable to the fishermen,
Right.
we're not gonna have fishermen out there. And so I've always felt that this is something that we should be able to discuss. But anyhow, I don't want to get off topic. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, to say a little bit more about that, I mean, it's unavoidable to talk about the price, because the price is involved in so many things.
Mhm.
Adding a box,
Mhm,
taking away a box,
mhm,
extending the season. We can't help not talk about it, but
mhm.
we shouldn't be making our decisions based on how much money we can make the scalpers by making those decisions.
Mhm.
So I guess that's kind of the gist of what I
Yeah,
said when I
yeah.
said that.
Mhm.
But everything else, so. I mean, if they can't get fuel, they can't go.
Right.
Or if it's too expensive, they can't go.
Well, as far as scallopers go, that's another part of this discussion. I mean, uh, what do you use to get 5 boxes? 5 gallons?
Yeah, it depends where we're going.
Yeah.
Sometimes you use two.
Right.
Sometimes you use,
Well, with today's Yamaha 4 strokes, which 90% of the guys are using, they're not consuming a whole lot of fuel in a day. Do you have an onboard tank on your
I
boat?
was bring 6 gallon
Six-
tanks,
yeah.
switch out them back of the truck,
Mhm.
empty one, switch the tank.
And that should be part of this discussion, but I don't think necessarily scallopers, filling from a truck or a transfer tank out of the back of their own pickup truck is necessarily something we should advocate for.
No.
They're using small amounts. It's gasoline versus diesel. Their boats are small enough they can, if they have an onboard tank that's 50 gallons or so, they could haul the boat out, go to the gas station on land to get the fuel. Or as I see most of the guys just simply toting their 6 gallon cans back and forth. So, boat tanks.
But I see all the stuff that you said and everything we were talking about as things that would be, it would be hashed out
Mhm.
once we have all our information, it would be
Mhm.
hashed out so that into a recommendation
Yes. Yeah.
to the select board and to the Harbor Plan
Mhm.
Implementation Committee, so that we knew what we were talking about. Private trucks with tanks on them, like they have, you have an excavator at a job and
Mhm.
a truck shows up with a tank that's behind the cab.
Mhm.
Things like that, is that okay? And probably not, but it's things that's one of those things that we should have, completely worked out. So we know what we're talking about, so we have it narrowed down to this can happen, this can't,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
So again, one of my concerns would be even away from the commercial fishermen. What happens if we have a large yacht somehow get wedged in where the boat base and fuel tank is, or the fueling capacity is, and that's taken out of service?
Well, and
I mean, they need a backup.
Yeah,
Again, you
that's-
can't get in Maticat.
that's what Mr. DeCosta brought up.
Yeah, so
And
that,
that was his number one concern on this. Of course, the discussion was on chapter 91 and it, swayed over to this. If they become inoperable
yeah, I mean,
and others need fuel.
just this
and
past
that's-
summer, one of the big yachts lost its anchor off the front and, that was a close call. Something could have happened if it had been windy or,
Mhm.
somebody was not attentive. So
Mhm.
again, we don't have to just look at this as a commercial fishing issue. So I think we should pursue it.
Yeah, okay, good. Anybody else? We'll continue this till the next meeting. Anybody from the public on transferring of fuel? Public questions or comments? Mr. Buscarin?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
All right, sir,
Oh, I'm sorry.
right,
They were so close together here. Draft fiscal year 2025 Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board Annual Report, which Mr. Brace has handed to us. And I'm sorry, I was confused on the minutes and this is what you sent out to us, email.
right, I sent it out about an hour and a half before the meeting, but
Yeah.
this is a rough draft. I put headings above each area so that you can see how I broke it out. I give it to you guys so that you can hopefully say it's okay and you trust me to make it right, and also things that you want to add in, things that you see missing.
And I'll put it in there, but the dredge plan we had talked about when Vince Murphy was in here.
Okay,
So I think that was important. We had quite a bit of discussions. And I know, Andy, that's one of your hot topics.
What?
The dredging
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
well, the way I was instructed to do it to do this, is you go through the minutes and you find all the places where we
Okay.
took a vote and made a decision. But over the years, I've kind of embellished, to inform the public that we continue to support this or support that. We're working on this, we're working on that. Anything that looks like we're headed toward a definite recommendation or something. But if I, well, yeah, definitely I'll mention the sediment study and, sediment transport study and, dredging plan, but yeah. So anything you guys want to add, change, scold me on, is fine.
And if we did have a meeting on December 17th, I should probably have notes, so.
Well-
I can let you know if there was anything
Actually, I'm kind of hoping that,
you don't.
well, I'm kind of hoping that you guys can tell me now if you see anything, because I need to get it to Erica.
Okay,
I mean, if I say, I'll have it to you by the 17th. Is that the next meeting?
yes,
Our meeting is the 16th.
The 16th. So I'll tell her we'll have it to her by the 16th. So everybody look at it. And I'll send a notice out to remind people who weren't here. And
So what you're looking for revisions or additions, and we'll talk about this at our next meeting, or would you prefer to have
well,
that
I'd love to help
before?
now, but
Yeah.
because there are 3 members that aren't here.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that they can get a hold of me in the next few days, but I'm with a quorum here. Then you guys can look at it and say, it looks okay, and we trust you to write it based on what everybody adds in, and then everybody, all the other members, well, you guys and the other 3 can get a hold of me and say, wait, I thought of this needs to be in here, and
All right, I think, the 3 of us at least can get back to you, within days if we have anything we'd like to see added, or revised. Peter, you've been doing this for 14 years now, plus or minus, so,
well, 5 of those years I was chairman, so I wasn't doing this thing.
okay, well,
Um, But,
just the same, we trust you, so.
did any of you guys see anything that jumps out at you? That's all right, you get back to me then.
I'll get back to you, yeah, or nay, so.
Okay,
Would you prefer email, text? How would
whichever
like
way
it?
you want to communicate with me.
Okay. Thank you, Peter.
But if you guys can make a vote,
You want to vote now?
some sort of vote that says, unless you want to go and do it at the next meeting. It's,
No, I mean, if it helps you move forward, we can certainly, somebody can make a motion to, approve, Peter's draft report, along with revisions, that will be coming in the near future.
I'll make a motion to approve Peter's rough draft. And we'll provide additional feedback.
I'll second.
Motion's been made to, approve the draft annual report. That motion's been made by Mr. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Sherlin. Any discussion? All in favor, Mr. Sherlin?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Brace?
all right,
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Public questions? Mr. Buscarin, please step up.
Finally ready.
Please step up.
This-
No,
Join
no,
me,
I'm
the table.
very curious of your presence here, so, and
Don't be too curious, it's just to ask your advice on a couple of things here. As you know, Nantucket Moorings appears to have a monopoly.
Can you give me your first name?
Anthony Buscarin,
Okay.
Bouscaren,
Okay,
44 Burnell Street, Wisconsin. Been a year-round resident since 2012. I'm on the airport commission for about 10 years. Interested in town government. Just thought this might be a place to get your advice. It appears that Nantucket Moorings has a monopoly on renting moorings in the summertime for recreational boaters. I think you're all aware of this. I think this is maybe the appropriate place to bring this query. But you may not be, I don't know if you're aware of the prices, because they've kind of doubled their rates over the last few years. I've had a larger sailboat, which I had the partner for a while. And it used to be, $50 a night. I got get paid that for, a week or something out here. But now it's well over 100. So I think what Nantucket Moorings is doing, if you have a boat bigger than about 25 feet, it's becoming prohibitive to keep the boat here in Nantucket at all. I've been on the big boat mooring list for wait list for 10 years, and I think I've moved up 4 spots. Being 81 years old, I think I'll be long dead before I ever get near getting a mooring of my own on the island. I'm just wondering if this committee has any interest in setting aside moorings from Nantucket Moorings where locals, people who are taxpayers, could have access to the harbor during the summertime, because I'm pretty much priced out of it at this point. The prices have doubled, and of course, you see a lot of fancy boats in. But I'm just wondering how we might approach that.
Well, this is a question for our harbor master, I believe. As far as monopoly goes, there's also Matt Anderson of Stillwater Moorings. I'm not sure if he has rentals or if he only does moorings for private use. Jim, you may know a little more than I do.
As far as I know, at one point there were 5 different rental companies when it was initially established. I believe it's an Army Corps thing with the number of rental moorings at 125.
Right, that's right.
And at some point it was agreed upon that it would go to one company, and I believe they sort of bid on it, the town. It's kind of like the Jetty's Beach Concessions or the restaurant. I believe it's sort of set up like that in the town. I'm not 100% sure. Jeff would have a much better answer than I do. As far as availability of moorings, nobody can technically rent a mooring to somebody else, but you can get permission to use one with the fee of the license fee and I think general maintenance of the equipment for the year. So if there was somebody who had one that wasn't using it, you could quote lease it from that person. You can certainly ask the other mooring handlers or Nantucket Moorings if there's anybody that has one that's not going to be used for that year. And that is one way to get a mooring for your boat, that you would not have to rent a mooring technically through Nantucket Moorings.
I tried that last March. I went to Nantucket Moorings and they said we're all sold out. There's, in other words, there's nobody there aware of who's willing to do that.
I don't think they're gonna break up the rental moorings ever again, probably. I don't know, but I don't think that that's gonna be something the town's gonna let do. I mean, they do a good service, they do a good job, and
I'm not asking for that. What I'm asking to do, since the town has a contract with Nantucket Moorings and gets paid for that franchise, why would not the town make provision for locals, people who live here, taxpayers here, to have some access to that mooring field at a price somewhat less than what they're trying to charge the general public? In other words, essentially Nantucket Moorings is allowing people coming off islanders, they come in here, they can pay the $200 a night or whatever it is, or up. And local islanders can't do that.
Well, that's on a limited amount of moorings.
Oh, this would be for 10 people that are sitting on the big boat mooring list for more than 10 years, who we're never gonna have access, we're never gonna get our own mooring. I'm never gonna get to the top of that list. I've talked to the harbor master at great length about this. That's never gonna happen. They move up about 2 people or 3 people get moorings a year. That's about all it is.
I guess then you'd have to determine how those 10 moorings get doled out to.
Well, that's
people.
easy. You'd have to make an application. If you live on the island, a taxpayer on the island, year-rounders, you might have some sort of preference with Nantucket Moorings, and that would be 10 people. This is not a big deal.
Mhm.
That's gonna be a tough one.
It sounds like it's something that when we get the harbor plan implementation committee going. That whichever part of the harbor plan update concerns moorings, that'd be a thing. That would be your moment. To come
Okay.
in.
I don't know how to approach this. I mean, I figured this committee would be as good as any place to start, that's all. You know, I don't think I'm gonna be granted any mooring next year or anything like this. I'm just trying to get the ball rolling. That's all.
I wish we could be of better assistance,
But it's a, what? The mooring's $100 in that,
It depends on the size of the boat. I came in here last summer, and my boat was 37 feet, I just sold it. Because I've got no place to keep it here. So I sold the boat, but I'm looking at another one. Sailboats are now going for very low numbers because nobody knows how to sail anymore. And there are a lot of boats out there, so I got up my line, I can buy a big boat, nice boat up in Maine for $4,000. You know, at my age, I might just sail up the coast of Maine.
yeah,
You know, I have grandchildren, they all come here in the summertime, I'd like to take them out on the boat. But keeping it here on Nantucket is impossible, I can't pay $125 a day, which is what it was costing me. I was here for about a week last summer, and I said, you know, there goes $800.
mhm. How much time are you allowed in the anchorage? 1 week,
Well, you gotta be on the boat,
yeah,
you see, you gotta be overnight. You
Yeah.
you can't anchor the boat.
right,
And just
Okay.
leave it there, and that's smart, I mean.
Yeah.
If I'm the harbor master, I wouldn't want
yeah,
some guy, you know, dragging a
Yeah.
anchor at
Yeah,
a
no,
25 knot wind.
that's there for a
That's the
reason.
problem. I've done that, I've anchored the boat when I was I stayed on the boat a couple nights, but
Not that I'd
Well,
want
I'm
to
curious,
encourage
you
that
had-
anyway.
long discussions with Sheila. So what did she say about what you were
she
saying?
said, come here.
But what did she say, though?
Really?
She says it's not up to her the town of Nantucket would have to make some sort of provision for local islanders to have access to the harbor on a reduced cost basis with Nantucket moorings. That's what this is about.
So
She can't make any ruling about
So
that.
that's all about us coming up with maybe a recommendation, which then goes to the select board, which we'll talk about, and it'll be a public hearing,
That's what she said.
and it'll be, most likely stocked with anybody that even lays eyes on a mooring. For people that will show up and talk about it.
Right.
So, you know, Nantucket Moorings and, Matt Anderson and,
What happened to Rick Kodalak's moorings?
yeah, so,
We went to Nantucket Moorings.
I mean, maybe this is an agenda item that we pick up, you know.
Well, that's what I was just thinking, what do we label it? Did you get the email? About agendas? It's pretty lengthy, I'll send it to you, Peter, because, as we've been informed by Jeff, but also a new town employee sent a lengthy email about, agenda items being described in a way that somebody completely unfamiliar with what we do understands what our discussion is going to be like.
Oh,
So,
you're talking about adding words. That I
Yes.
can do,
Yeah,
that I can do. You want a paragraph on each one?
and we're not supposed to use, acronyms unless we've spelled out Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board
We have to
first.
remember that we know all that
Yeah.
stuff, but the public doesn't.
You're right. So, I think this is, a wonderful agenda item. What would we call it, to start with, would be like, priority moorings for,
Residents, Nantucket residents.
yeah.
Sure, can I make one comment on that?
And we have what is it, 2,000 mooring limit?
So I think it's 1,800 plus the people who own waterfront property get one, so it's
Yeah,
More than-
1,800 and then your grandfather
2,000,
mooring wherever you
300
are.
or something.
Yeah,
One of the things, somebody approached me, there are plenty of illegal moorings out there too.
Well, that's.
And I'm gonna be working in the summer with with an individual to identify some of those.
Really?
There's,
I know the guy that had his boat anchored out right out in front of Monomoy all summer long, about 10 summers ago.
Mhm.
40 foot boat.
Mhm.
You know, the harbor master never came by and said, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah,
You know, I can understand, there's a, you know, even in Pulpus, I'm sure there are plenty of illegal moorings. People just throw out a heavy brick and stick a bobber out there and they're in business. I don't want to take up all your time on this, I just thought I'd raise the issue. And Sheila said this is the best place to start, so.
well, just so you're aware, we are an advisory board. We do not actually, create or make any rules or regulations. We make suggestions.
Yeah, Sheila explained. that
And,
today.
okay, good. And, but, we're glad to take this on and see what we can do as far as, the next agenda you feel will be better to, January.
Well, I mean, the 16th. I mean, I can't see why we wouldn't start it off on the 16th.
Yeah, okay.
Get it going and, maybe get, more people in here.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
People attended our meetings.
Yeah.
You started it.
Hey, listen, I'm a retired guy, I have nothing better to do.
Okay.
And, slightly improve the situation here if I can. I sit
Well,
into endless meetings at the airport
Hate,
commission.
hate
for the
for you to
last
have
10
to go
years.
all the way to Rockport to enjoy your sailboat.
Yeah, good,
Um.
good. I appreciate your listening to this, and if you want me to show
Yeah.
up at the next meeting, whenever that is, I know you're the first week or the third week.
First and third.
December 16th.
What's your, what is your email?
AG
AG
BOUS
BOUS
CAREN
EN.
at gmail.com.
Okay,
Here is that's a card there, just a heck,
Okay.
you can have the card.
so when I do the agenda, then I'll make sure that it gets to you as well.
Okay. Okay, great.
You didn't happen to have a Concordia?
I don't.
No.
no.
Just
You
curious.
wanna go sailing?
Huh?
Wanna go
That's
sailing?
the only thing I sailed on from
There are a bunch of,
Winthrop to Rockport.
there are a bunch of
Years
others.
ago. Yeah. And
Nice old boat.
Rockport takes care of.
How big
a whole
did you
bunch
say
of-
your boat was that you sold? 137?
I had a 38-foot Sabre
Oh.
sailboat,
Okay,
which was about $115 a night, something like that. Out here. At any rate, thank you very much.
Thank you,
you.
Tony.
Right.
Any more,
Tony or Anthony?
Tony.
Okay,
any more
Alright.
questions from the public?
okay.
Anything else for our next meeting?
No.
Good night, Tony.
One comment, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Sherwin, please.
I was told today that there are still 12 moorings in Shellfish areas off Monomoy. Since we're talking about moorings, I thought I'd mention that.
Okay. It's another reason to talk about it.
Right.
They scallop beds?
Yes,
Really? And they're probably private homeowners,
good
but
chance.
don't they hire somebody to take them out every year?
It's supposed to.
No? Okay. All right,
Let me tell Sheila.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've got a few items. I'll ask Sheila if she can make our next meeting. Usually she vacations after the first of the year, so it'd be nice if she could come in before then. I'll reach out to Sheila. If there's nothing else to discuss, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's made by Mr. Anderson, seconded by Mr. Sherwin to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor, Mr. Brace?
Aye.
Mr. Sherwin?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. This meeting is adjourned at 6:11 PM. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tara.
Good night.
Good night.